I'm about to show you the best offense in Madden 21 to destroy absolutely any defense that you could possibly face. The formation we're going to be in is the shotgun Trey Y flex, and the play we're going to be using is dagger. Up on the screen right now are all of the playbooks where you can find this exact play and the formation that it's in. This play right here has been one of my favorite plays in Madden for some time now, and I think in Madden 21 it's the best that it's ever been. Now, one thing you need to know about this play is it's best if you have your trips wide receivers lined up to the wide side of the field. So if you notice, we are on the right hash mark, so we have our receivers on the left side of the field. If we were on the left hash mark, we would flip the formation and have the wide receivers lined up to the right side of the field. Another key thing about this play is it's going to be best if you have a backfield master running back or a quarterback that is hot route master, because you really want to put your running back on a table route and it makes this play super effective. But if you don't have that, you can put him on an out route. So to put him on a table route, you hit Y or triangle, select his icon, which is RB in my case, and then you go right on the D-pad. You can see now we have him on a table route. If you don't have this option, you can put him on an out route by pressing Y or triangle, selecting his icon, and selecting right on the left stick. So I'll show you how to run it both ways. I'm going to also show you some alternate setups that are going to really confuse your opponent and how to beat all of the popular defenses in Madden 21. The first thing you always want to look for in this play is the table route, and then you want to progress to the drag route. They work very, very well off of each other. The table route does a really good job at beating man, as you can see, and everybody loves to run man defense this year. The table route is what you want to look to every single time. If it's there, you want to take it. You never want to pass this up, especially with a good receiving back. You can see, even though it looks like it's covered pretty well, we still get huge yards. Now what happens is once you start abusing that table route, people are going to manually overplay it with their user, in which you go back over the middle of the field to this drag that does a good job at beating every defense. These two routes work very well together because a user cannot cover them both. Then you have the best route on the play, this crossing route. Now you do want your best receiver here. He's going to do a good job at beating the man press pretty much every time, and if you have a route technician type ability on him, he's going to do a really good job at just consistently getting open against even the best cornerbacks in the game. This is another one of those routes that your opponent has to over adjust to stop. And the fail-safe route here is the back end dig route run by the wide receiver all the way on the left side of the field. He's going to do a good job at beating man coverage and any zone coverage, and this is one of those routes that works perfectly with the crossing route because it fills in so far behind it that, again, a user cannot cover both. Now again, if you do not have the table route, the out route will work fine. It's not as good as the table route because the table route does hit the sideline a little bit quicker, but with a good running back, you can see you can still make some pretty big yards with the out route as well. Alright, now let's look at a cover 2 defense. So again, first you want to look for the table route. Right there, it looks covered. That's fine. We're going to go hit the drag over the middle of the field, pick up our 4 to 5 easy yards every single time. And if they're not using right away, you can throw this drag super quick like that, and it helps you pick up an extra yard. It turns 4 to 5 yard gains into 6 to 8 yard gains. Because a lot of times the user is going to overplay the running back once you throw it so much, so the middle of the field will be wide open right after the snap of the ball when you're playing online. Now the table route does a really good job at pulling down the cloud flat against a cover 2 as well, which opens up this crossing route even more, which is why it's a killer versus cover 2 defense. And as always, you're going to have that backside dig route that's going to get wide open against every coverage, so you just have to kind of wait to find the opening. If everything else is covered, it's going to get open at some point of the play. Now against a cover 3, same thing. We're looking to the flat route first. We're going to quick throw it if they're not playing aggressive in the flats, and you can see easy 6 to 7 yards. And actually, in real games, a lot of times this gets you even more yards because a lot of people online set their curl flats to drop 20 yards back to defend the deeper routes, which means this becomes even that much more wide open. And again, if they're overplaying that or they're running deep with the crossing route, you have the quick hitting drag that does such a good job. The spacing on this play just works so well together because 2 of the most dangerous routes on the play are quickly going to the right side, and you have this drag underneath that is just wide open against pretty much any coverage. Now the crossing route's still going to be the biggest money route on the play. There's always going to be a window right there to throw it to the sideline, hold on with the possession catch so you can dive for the ball and secure it. And again, that deep dig route on the back end is always going to be a good fail-safe. It's always going to have a window against zone, and it just cuts at the right time to where you cannot manually guard the cross and the dig. They have great spacing. Another thing to note against cover 3 is this streak route in the slot. There's always going to be a window right when it passes the linebackers like so, where you can lead this to the inside and go for a possession catch. It looks like a tight coverage. It's one of those things you have to practice because you have to trust the throw. It looks like it's very, very risky, but if you time this right, there's always this window right there. You get the secure possession catch, you're going to dive, and it eats up cover 3 all day. And again, if you need to use the out route, that's no problem. It's not going to be as good as the table route, but you can see the out route still does a good job at getting good yards as well, so you don't need a backfield master to run this offense. Now let's look at the cover 1 style of defense where people drop their curl flats 20 yards back. Maybe something like this with a spy over the middle of the field. So the number one thing I like about going against that type of defense is a lot of times at first they don't man up the running back on this. So the running back winds up being wide open just like so. And I've scored so many touchdowns just off of that this year alone. Now maybe they do something like this instead, leave the running back manned up so they don't have to worry about him, and then they put the 2 curl flats, and then they'll just user this guy in the middle. Well, if they don't manually cover the drag, we already know that's an easy quick hitting route that's going to pick us up a ton of yards, and if they do guard that, we can still go to the dig or the crosser. Because the thing with the crosser is it's going to get open just like this before it hits the sideline where the purple zone is. So if they don't cover that, the drag is open. If they cover the drag, that's open. Now let's just stick with this style of defense because it is so popular. I want to show you my first little wrinkle that I like to do with this play. Now you do need a backfield master or a hot route master to do this one, which is putting the running back on an angle or Texas route, which is wire triangle, select his icon, and then press up on the D-pad. That's going to put him on this angle route, or it's referred to as a Texas route. Why I like this is because it looks like the table route at first. It goes at the same angle to the sideline, and then it takes a sharp cut over the middle of the field. Now where I get people confused with this is because sometimes they're leaving man defense out there and they think, okay, the man will be able to get out there and defend the table route, but then it cuts over the middle and it's wide open. Or even when they user the table route, which a lot of people do versus me because I throw it so much, it looks like it's going to the sideline, so they keep running to the sideline with the user, and by the time the running back cuts, they're out of position. Because once your guy cuts on this, I mean, he just gets super wide open, as you can see, and I've made huge plays by throwing this in there on people every so many plays. Now, even if they're in a zone style defense, sometimes I'll still put this running back on an angle route, but usually what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll put the tight end on a flat route by pressing wire triangle, selecting his icon, and then pressing the L2 or LT button. I do this when I think they're running zone because the tight end will just kind of pull more zones to the sideline, and it'll still hold the shallow zones underneath so that our crosser to Michael Thomas can get open as well. But that's just another little wrinkle that you could throw in there, and you see they're not going to be able to defend the angle route, the crossing route, or the dig coming on the back end. Now, another problem that this formation poses to people that like to drop everybody in coverage like this, playing man defense, only rushing 2 or 3 guys, is that this formation has a really good inside zone, which you can audible right into by pressing the extra square button and then pressing wire triangle to get to your inside zone. This inside zone run does a really good job at eating up past coverage style defenses, so it's very hard for them to worry about all the routes on dagger and then having to worry about that inside zone run. And I also love this formation for when people try to mix in those quick blitzes because there's so many good routes on this play that beat it. Again, the table route against a man blitz, a lot of times is going to get open. It's one-on-one, a lot of times with a safety, and they can't get down there quick enough to make a play. And just like all the other routes against man, they're going to work even better versus the man blitzes that people run because there's no extra coverage to help stop. You can't put those zones on the field because you're trying to get to the QB quick. So if you catch them in a blitz, there's just so many quick hitting routes, and then you also have this crossing route that goes deep, and there's no help over the top if you have a fast receiver. So if you catch them in the blitz, you have some big quick hitting routes, and there's no help over the top to stop routes like this from going for a touchdown, and we already know they're going to all cook man defense, so blitzing versus this play just isn't an option. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Subscribe if you're new, turn the bell icon on if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys next time.